Hey everyone, welcome to the Eden Podcast. This is episode 6. My name's Mark. I'm joined with Daniel, and today we have a special guest, Brandon. Brandon, thank you for joining us today. We're going to be having a conversation about changes. I'm so excited to dive into this with you guys today.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I feel like obviously 2020 happened, a lot of changes, but I don't think that we have maybe talked about like the process of change, what happens when change comes, and then just kind of digging into that. As a group. And part of the reason why Brandon was invited into the conversation is 1, because we love him. 2, he has great insight.
That's true.
But then number 3, Brandon and Kim are making some big changes. And you guys may recognize Brandon from our music team, our worship team. But we know that a lot of people haven't had the chance to meet you. And so this is kind of a fun opportunity to get to know you, but then also for you to update us in the church on some of what is happening in your life.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. And I try not to stink up the place. I'm a little nervous, as you know. No, man. It's just a pleasure, man. And yeah, we're getting, me and my wife, Kim, we're getting ready to move to Maryland. And it's a change, but it's also at the same time a returning to, so it's a lot of things that are different, but a lot of things are kind of the same. And it's a weird change,
Because that's where you guys came from. You were in Maryland before you guys came to California. And I forget how long ago it was that you kind of let me know that you guys were probably going to be heading back. And I felt like there was something in your eyes that felt like you knew you were about to just place a dagger in my back. There was like a little bit of joy in when you told me that you guys were moving back, because you knew that it was I don't know why.
It wasn't that. It was excitement is what you were saying.
Okay.
And not necessarily excitement for leaving, but excitement for, change. There's a lot of positive things that, like I was seeing. I was like, man, I can be able to be closer with family. Mm-hmm. And it's been like my whole adult life, I've been virtually away from my nephews, and having to watch them grow up, from afar, from being in the military and just being like just away, and now I get the opportunity to be up close, and personal, and and influence these young men, and that's very exciting to me, as well as I took a job at my old church, and it's going to give me an opportunity to grow as a praise and worship leader, and as well as a video producer, and so there are a lot of exciting opportunities for me there, and when I told you about it, it was like none of these things were like, everything was in the air. So it's like, these are things that could happen. This is some things that I see that could happen on the horizon. Yeah. At that point, like even before I told you, it was the whole thing was just based off a loose conversation that I had with my old senior pastor, and basically they my old praise and worship pastor, like he stepped down because he's retired. Mm-hmm. And he just wanted to do something else with his life, and that was exciting for him. That was change for him, and it was a vacuum now. It was an empty space. It was a void, and it was like, okay, cool, And before I left, my senior pastor asked me like, hey, like, what are you gonna do when you get to California? I was like, I don't know, maybe do something with video production or something. I don't know. And he was like, have you thought about praise and worship? Before I left, and then coming back, and that opening up that. It kind of planted a seed in my head for that, when he asked that question.
Well, that is kind of interesting when you think about like, what are the things that motivate change in our life? Sometimes it's forced, but other times it is opportunities that force us out of like what is like comfortable, and it causes us to like step into something that is unfamiliar, which you have some familiarity, but when you're going back to a familiar area and familiar people, but in an unfamiliar role in that environment.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because you're going to be helping to lead that team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's excitement, but there's also panic because it's like, what if I mess up? What if I don't do a good job? And it's living like in that tension, you know, right? Like, so it's on one hand, it's all these amazing things that could happen, you know, and then on another hand, it's like, oh, there's an opportunity I can mess up too, you know. But then in the middle of that, it's like where I think growth happens. You know, it's where you take these two things and you somehow reconcile, like, okay, how do I make up this distance? Yeah. You know, and that comes from, you know, maybe this training. Maybe it's, okay, I need a mentor that's going to guide me, you know, and then it just kind of helps you to like seeing what could go wrong. Yeah. Kind of helps you to cultivate like strategy. And figure out, okay, what do I do? You know?
Yeah, that's good. And what's kind of interesting though too, and when change happens for one person, it is almost like this sequence of things that also cause change. Because Mark, now you're losing, you know, one of our most consistent vocalists. Yep. And so when you hear about Brandon's change, how do you feel like that impacts the way that you kind of you kind of have to adapt and make changes on your team?
Yeah, I mean, it's big shoes to fill. Like, I think that's something that we're definitely going to miss, is just your presence on the team and your voice and your energy. Like, I don't think that's easily replaceable.
100%.
So 100%. Yeah, but I think it's one of those things too, where it's like, now we got to step up and try to fill those shoes. And I think too, like, I was talking to Brian about this earlier, but I was kind of saying how one of the things I do like about the team is because we're at a size where it is regular, where it's kind of like, and I think for the majority of our team, like, they want to be there every week. Yeah. And it's like, it's not because they have to, but I think it's because right now we're at a size where, like, if you wanted to be there every week, you could. And I think it's kind of one of those things where I think if you're seeing that every week, I remember when I was in youth group and I'd see the same people in the band all the time, I'd be like, oh, they don't need me. Like, it's the same people every week. But I think when it's like, oh no, Brandon's not there anymore. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think it just kind of shows that, like, there is a need for more vocalists and more people on the team. So in some ways too, it's like creating space for other people to step into what God might be calling them to do too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's so crazy too, when you think about, like, when a gap does exist, just like at your church. Now Brandon has an opportunity to step into that space, but you also create, there's also a hole left here that gives someone else an opportunity to step in. And I think it's healthy that there's change in our lives, because it's challenging, but it's also a sign of growth and development happening somewhere in our system. And so it's kind of interesting to think about it along how it impacts other people in different ways.
Absolutely. Like, it's it's like just moving pieces. Like, it's still one church, man. We're still one team.
Come on now.
You know, and at the end of the day, like, I don't really think in terms of like, oh, I'm losing this, you know, like, because it's just gaining, and it's different opportunities, you know, for growth. We're just stepping off into another area of growth. So, like, if I'm stepping into a new area of growth, that's creating another area of growth for someone else to step into, you know, and you know, and it's just a phone call away, you know. It's like, that's true. Man, like, hey, Mark, man, I hope your Sunday is clear, because you know, I could really use ... you know, and vice versa, you know, and then just clearing that with, like, leadership, like, because I would be on a plane in a heartbeat, is what I'm saying. It's the
come on now.
We can green screen you in too, and vice versa. We can always do that while we're still filming everything.
Yeah. But even on our end, it's going to be so awesome to see what God does through your leadership and the unique ways that you lead your team and I mean, Brandon, you're one of the most creative people I know. People don't, I mean, they see you on one level as I don't want to say performer, but you're able to lead on a stage vocally, but you're also an amazing songwriter, spoken word, you're a producer, you produce your own music, rap, and it's, in my opinion, it is like really good, thick, meaty lyrics. And so it's really cool to see how now you have an opportunity to kind of unleash that in the church through your own unique vision.
Yeah, and I just kind of think about how God tends to, like, how he prepares us for different things, right? Like when I got here, and I think Freddie was leading at the time, and then I had an opportunity to kind of step into the leadership role for a little bit, like to just kind of fill a space until Mark came along, and that opportunity taught me so much, about the importance of the position, and how to manage it correctly, and just having the right attitude about being a servant, right? And so, like, going back to Maryland, I feel more prepared. I feel like I have more support. Like especially having like I'm in Anthem right now as well. Like I have my cohort, I got my professors, I have Mark, I have the people, I have my connections in Maryland itself, and I'm stepping into this opportunity. It's like, man, God, I feel like you've prepared me for this. And while I'm excited and even a little bit panicked, like I know that like it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
Like, because I know it's not just me, right?
Yeah. So, 100%. And then, I mean, just for anyone who's watching or listening, I think that all of us are probably in the middle of some type of season of change, whether it's our job, work, relationships, location, something is about to change in your life. And I know that there is kind of that tendency to allow sometimes the uncertainty to create room for anxiety. But it seems like if there is a sense that God is part of that change, then it's possible to fill that space, not with fear or anxiety, but a sense of faith and anticipation that if God is leading you down this path, he'll provide for you somewhere along the way.
Absolutely.
So I hope that's an encouragement to you. And Brandon, I feel like we're going to miss you, man, so bad. You and Kim, you guys have just been a gift to this community.
Absolutely.
And, but we're so happy for you guys at the same time to just see what the future holds for you guys in this new season of life. So, Mark, I don't know if you want to kind of give the final word here.
Yeah.
But you guys have really worked a lot together.
Yeah, I echo everything Daniel says. It's been a fun ride. I'm excited to see what you're gonna do in your new position. I think it's gonna be an awesome opportunity for you. And with that, I think that's also a good point for us to wrap up too. And
real quick though, Brandon, is there a way to stay in touch with you, or should we put that? We'll put that in the comment section.
Yeah, put that in the comment section.
The bio or something.
Yep. Yeah, we can plug all the socials. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We'd love to hear your feedback in the comments below. And as always, be sure to join us every Sunday, 9:30 and 11, Eden.Church. And if you have anything else, you can always send us a message on social media at Eden the Church or in the comments. And don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff so that you know every time we upload something new onto YouTube or on anywhere you get your podcast from. So thank you so much for joining us.
Woo! Peace.